we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 165 of The Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. I'm rolling hard in the Mobile Doomsday Studios. It's hell and ice outside, and I'm doing my thing. And I have takes. There's a couple of things going on, but I'll talk a little on some goings on, some current shenanigans, and then shift into some, I don't know, how can one say, drinking stories? Not really drinking stories, maybe drinking takes even, if you like. So for starters, dude, the jackassery continues in the gaze of Hormuz. It's becoming the gayest of Hormuz. This business of like, oh, it's open. Oh, it's not open. Oh, this thing's over. That thing's over. No, they started it. Like, what the fuck is this, dude? And I don't know if you've seen this or you caught this thing, the Marco Rubio thing, where this dude is really trying. Like, he's really putting his back into, like, he wants to be heir to the throne, heir to the big orange throne, this guy. And he got out there on some interview. And so their take, like, here's the U.S. position. And this is ass, dude. Like, this is embarrassing and silly. So the take as it stands is that the Operation Epic Fury, that went away. That's over, man. You know, that was over. And we stopped everything. And, you know, we're done with that. And, you know, so the deal is that, like, yeah, we bombed the shit out of these people, killed a bunch of school kids and what have you, and fucked up a bunch of property. And now that's over. It's over. It's done with. Everything's back to normal. Everything's cool. But now we're there and we want these straits open. So that shit's over with. So we want to fuck around now, and we want you to open these straits so that we can, you know, get some oil in and out because, you know, dude, everything is getting wildly fucked up, but I'll come to that in a minute. So they want these straits open, and so they start fucking floating a bunch of ships up there, telling people, "Nah, just go and go through, bro. We'll escort you, bro. We'll look out for you, bro. We're gonna make sure you get through there safe, bro." And Iran whacked a couple of fucking shipping vessels that tried their luck, and it's like, what the fuck do you want, dude? But now Marco Rubio comes out here and he goes, no, this is like Operation Eternal Freedom or some, I can't even remember what the fuck they're calling it now. Like Eternal Freedom or Bicurious Freedom or whatever. So he's out there at this press conference talking about, yeah, it's this operation over here. It's not the Epic Fury thing. That's over. That's gone. You know, the part where we fucked up a bunch of their stuff and killed a bunch of people, that's over now. This is something totally different now. And they hit us first, bro. They shot at us first, bro, so we had to do something, right? We got to do something. So the shit just continues. The escalations continue. But where the snowball is coming into play is that when shit can't get out of there, when shipping is all fucked up, that means that things like oil that goes to the rest of the world, that means things like fertilizer that would be going to Southeast Asia. There's like a shit ton of places that, like, even if, you know, places like Southeast Asia where you can grow things there, right? I mean, it's a kind of place where shit grows. But their economy is such that they depend on being able to send shit out, you know, to places like Africa or whatever where they can't grow anything. So when they can't do that shit, their economy gets fucked up. They got no gas. A lot of these wells, like I guess in Kuwait, they haven't exported shit in I don't know how long. So they've got these things just barely running. So that if they ever have to shut them off, I guess things get fucked up. And it takes forever to get it restarted or whatever. So the whole world economy is kind of in the shitter, and the solution to it, it seems like they're starting to float this the same way that they floated, like, you know, Iran, bro, we should really do something about Iran. The way that they're approaching this now appears to be, well, hey, what if everybody just stayed home because of the hantavirus or whatever? And the consensus at this point appears to be, go fuck yourself. I am not staying anywhere doing anything like that. We played this fucking game once. I'm not doing this shit again. That seems to be the normie take. Like, I'm not fucking playing this game with you again. So that appears at this point to have scaled back at least a little bit. We'll see if it stays like that. I hope it does. I'm not interested in playing that game. I mean, if you really wanted to see the wheels come off, go ahead and try telling people that they're not allowed to leave their house again. Go ahead and try that. After the stupidity of last time, I don't think that's going to fly very well. But then again, right? Who even knows? There's a lot of stupid people out there. People might go with it. Like, well, it worked before. You're not dead, are you? You gotta just play ball and do the right thing. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Other stuff going on. I just saw this thing that Zimbabwe, well, what is now known as Zimbabwe, rightly known as Rhodesia. I don't actually know very much about Rhodesia. I got to look at more of it, man. I mean, I think it was something that was really squelched. Like, you didn't hear about it at all. Like, nobody talked about it. I mean, the place was still a solid, up and running, functional country when I was a child. But nobody, like, I'd never heard of it. It was like this complete afterthought for most of my natural life, man. Like, I never even heard of it till it was gone already. So, like, Zimbabwe, oh, yes, Zimbabwe, it's an African country. But apparently Rhodesia, though, like South Africa, was a place that was a functional, successful, fully working country, like a normal country, like you'd expect. Of course, founded by white people, and was described as the breadbasket of Africa. Obviously, right? So you had this country, and then, as you do, international Hebrew pressure and U.S. sanctions and the whole deal, lots of bad press. Oh, Rhodesia, oh, that's awful. That's a horrible. Do you know what they do there? I don't give a fuck at this point. But so they took all of the farms, kicked out or killed all of the white people who were there, and now the place is starving, and even the leadership of the country is talking about, we really need to get these white people back in here. So now they're talking about, they've got, I think it was like 46 farms, something like this, that they want to hand back over. They're talking about, can we just give this back to you? Can someone do something? They've been talking for a while where, like, hey, is there a way that we could get white farmers to come back? Like, I'd heard this for a couple years, and apparently no takers. Why don't you, maybe South African farmers? Yeah, I mean, because they're not getting done very right in South Africa. So why not, like, but then again, it's like, so that what? So I can come there and get hassled instead of getting hassled where I'm used to living? I can come there and get fucked with. How about maybe hold out for a little more and say, like, hey, you know what? I'll entertain the idea, but I need, like, each of our votes is like 100 votes. Yeah, how does that sound? Like, let's just call this what it is, dude. Like, you people have no business being in charge of things. It hasn't worked out. It never works out. Yes? Which brings me to the next thing that I saw. I guess there's a couple of states where they're looking at redistricting, and well, they got, like, I think it was Memphis, somewhere in Texas, and such. I don't remember. I know Virginia was being talked about, but they're looking at redistricting, and apparently the big complaint right now is that, well, it's going to rip off a lot of Democrats, because what it does is it goes to these major cities and it parts out these major cities, and it makes it so that there's not really a majority black voting area. And my take is, I mean, on an initial hand, right, from a completely brain dead position, you could look at this and say, oh, well, so you sliced up Memphis like, say, like a pizza, where that a black dude that lives, 3 blocks that way, he's in a different voting block than me, and a black dude that lives 3 blocks the other direction, he's in a different voting district than either of us. But the guy that lives 20 miles out that way, he's in the same voting district as I am, because of how this place is divvied up. And if you were completely brain dead or you just showed up yesterday or you were living in a cave, you could look at this and you could be like, well, that's not exactly fair, is it? But now if we're looking realistically, how do these things break out? You're talking about divvying up these major urban centers. One, they're more densely populated than anywhere else. And two, they're more densely populated by people who cannot provide for themselves, specifically because this is where the Gibbs are. So any place downtown at this point, any major American city at this point, Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago, New York, LA, all of these are minority hotspots. They're all very densely populated with minorities because that's where the free shit is. That's where they can hide out. That's where the sweatshop labor is. That's where these people can do whatever they do their little racket where like they're all sharing one social security number of somebody who died 20 years ago. So they're all out there doing whatever it is they do, still working, still getting paid, but then also still collecting benefits because this is a fucking racket. So instead of allowing these people to have a huge block of voting power, we're divvying that up and maybe it'll start to make sense. That's one take, but moreover, I would say that it is imperative to remove these people's ability to make any kind of decision that impacts the way a government is run. Plain and simple. I think we played the fucking game enough of letting Tyrone be in charge. It's a stupid fucking idea, and it always ends the same way. It always ends the same way. With Tyrone in handcuffs, shaking his head, talking about, I ain't even know what I even did. I ain't even really did nothing. It all just got away from me too fast and shit. Like there were all that money and I finna pay it back and shit. It weren't my fault is all. It always ends the same fucking way. So it's good, even if you're blatantly ripping them off, even if you're disenfranchising voters, even if you're making it so that, Darky can't vote now. Good. It never ends well when they can. Look at the fucking state of things. Between them and women, I'm surprised the place is still upright. It's fucking nuts. But then on even a fourth hand, and here's the depressing part, I guess, is that, well, who's making these decisions actually and why? Because I don't honestly believe that anybody is looking at this through sober eyes and saying like, well, it really isn't that good of an idea letting these people just vote for whatever the fuck they want. We got to do something about it. That would be the smart money, but I don't think that's what's happening. What I do think is happening is that Shlomo and Ira and all the Bergen-Witz Club, they're just handing you something to fight about. They're handing you and Tyrone and the blue-haired libtards, they're just giving you all something to fight about. Here, fight about this for a while I grease the place. Because it's not as though the white man is neck deep in government making decisions over here. The good old boys club, it's not the good old goys club, I'll tell you that. It's Shlomo out there, and if they're doing this, they're doing it for a reason, and it's not in your interest. I mean, it would be interesting, like, if you played it through, like, what if it was in our interest? Why might that be? If that was the case, I would have to think, like, it would be like, you know what? We need this thing to stay upright a little bit longer. We need another generation of goys to go over here and fight for us because this shit in Lebanon and this shit with Iran, this has gotten way, way, way out of hand. We need something to start functioning again. That would turn into like a long-term, I think, dude, that tacks like an extra 20 years onto this fucking thing. Because if they started building back towards a functional white country that white people could look at and say, yeah, I'm invested in this. I want this to work out. And then they did another 9/11 deal. Then you could say, like, if they blame Iran, all right, well, we got to go now. And now you're going to get your big greater Israel. Now it could wrap up nice. Except that you already pulled these fucking stunts, man. Like, you've already let too many cats out of too many bags. And you can't run the same fucking trick twice, guy. Plus, people know the fucking score at this point. Normies are like, fuck Israel, dude. I'm not fucking fighting for you this time. It's not happening. So when you've got people talking about, we already know the deal, I already don't want these Africans voting. I already don't want these Hebrews in government. How many cards do you got left in the deck, guy? I mean, you don't have a whole lot of options. So how does that shake out? I don't know, dude. Maybe it's like implode it and then just try to reboot it and see if we can get something that works. And if not, then fuck it. Pack the bag, pack the big fucking scrolls, and get on the fucking train and hope that we don't get to them first. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Time will tell. Maybe it'll be a horse race coming down the stretch of like who is going to get their hands on the levers first. Is it going to be them and they're going to escape with all of the gold in hand? Or is it going to be us and you're going on that train anyway and we'll see what shakes loose. Anyway, I don't know. We'll take a look. Apart from that, man, dude, I posted it in the chat, but I put a picture of a drink that I had put together. And I'll tell you this, man, let me preface this. Like the drinking thing, like I guess I talk occasionally about drinking. I make a lot of references to being out boozing and this. Honestly, I don't drink that much, dude. I drink maybe 1-2 drinks a week, really tops. I don't have the fucking time for it. I don't have the tolerance for it no more. Even if I have something to do or money to spend or somebody to hang out with that day, I don't have the whole next fucking day to try pulling it together and like, I got to get my act together. But, I mean, I will tell you that in a time and place long since past, before 9/11, before the whole world was a very, very shitty place, there was a time where it was like, you're young, times were good, let's go boozing, man, let's hang out. And I don't know that people even still go out, dude. But there was a time when like, yeah, dude, let's go out, let's hang out a little bit. And you could go out with your friends, get Batmaned up a little bit, and get out here, spend a couple of dollars. It wouldn't cost your entire fucking rent. But you could hang out a little bit, get a snack, talk some shit. It was a good time. Now, not so much. Everything is very serious, and God forbid you get fucked up in the wrong part of town. Or it's, slightly after midnight and the Africans are running wild. Now you're just catching, 5 across the eyes for absolutely no fucking reason under the sun. Like, what is this shit about? Like, zap, here you go. Hey, here you go, white boy. Shit. This is very realistic. This could very much happen. And I actually saw, as I started to approach, 30s and so on, you see this more and more. Like there really used to be a time where you could go out with the boys, get liquored up, talk to some women, yuck it up. It wouldn't cost every dime you had. You could actually, if you met like a friend of a friend out there, like, oh, this guy, oh, I know that guy. Oh, yeah. You could be hanging out with somebody you don't even actually technically know, bunny ears know. You could, hey, we're going to go do after party at my house. Hooray. And now you go to some cat's house, you crash on their couch, you pass out on their lawn. You could wake up and like, ha, it was hilarious. What a great time had by all. You go on about your day, you pull yourself together, you find your car, whatever the fuck. But it wasn't a show-stopping event, man. It was not a life-changing, like, dude, you could have probably got killed or raped or robbed or mugged or sold into slavery in Mexico. Like, these weren't major concerns. You didn't have to worry so fucking much. You could talk about your liver. You could talk about, what's this doing to your hormone profile. You could have all these concerns. But what you didn't need to worry about was all this other shit about Africans or having your credit card stolen and run up by God knows who online or who knows what goes on, right? But none of these things you had to worry about. Everything was cool. Now, not so much, dude. Like, you got to be careful just leaving the house. But there was a time when you could do this shit. So, yeah, back in the day, and I mean, here also let me caveat that, like, I guess you could say to me, drinking was only ever like, this was a vehicle to just a lot of laughs. Because I was always really, I guess you could say, well, I mean, given the career and all, I was probably pretty high strung when I was a lot younger. I was raised to be high strung. Like I was supposed to be a rocket scientist or some kind of shit. That was the push. Like, you need to be studying, you need to be doing X, Y, and Z. I need you here, here, and here. and you're going to be somebody. And eventually it turned out to like, yeah, no, actually, I ain't doing any of that shit. I'm going to go over here and get shot at for nickels. Doing what? And like, well, you get what you get. But nonetheless, still stepped into a high stress career. And the boozing, as it were, to me was never really much about the boozing. Because I don't drink alone. You know, I'm the kind of cat that'll sit down with a 12 pack or sit down with a bottle and just get fucked up and burn through that shit. That was never really my thing. But to me, it was only ever about like, let's get a little bit silly. I could relax a little bit, not think about the 95 things that I still have to do every single day of the week. And we could yuck it up a little bit, ha ha ha. And that to me was always what the drinking thing was about. So even now, you know, if I'm at the house and I put together a cocktail, like that's going to be it, dude. I'm putting this together really just as something to do and almost as a reminder of like, remember when shit used to be funny? Like, remember when you could actually fucking relax? I don't really relax. Like, this is probably the closest I do to relaxing at this point is like, yeah, dude, I make a podcast and rant about shit that I can't do much about. That's the relaxation. I ain't got time or bandwidth to go fuck around and get liquored up and yuck it up and whatever. But anyway, with all that disclaimer out of the way, there was this, like way back in the day, there was this website that I saw again that I kind of stumbled across again. And at the time, it was called Modern Drunkard Magazine. So this shit's hilarious. So this deal called Modern Drunkard Magazine, and they would put out like a print magazine, like, you know, like the printed page. And you could subscribe to it, and you would get it, and it would come in the mail, and you could leave it in the bathroom, and the shit was fucking funny. And it was really, like, it was probably a bridge too far about, like, I'm going to get fucked up every day. But, again, this is tongue-in-cheek type shit. This is not meant to be taken, you know, completely seriously, I don't think. But you look at this magazine, and the deal was that, like, it would have, like, wacky stories about people like Ernest Hemingway, who apparently drank his fucking ass off, who also, I just read, killed himself at some point because he was going around saying he was feeling like he was getting what we would now call gang stalked, right? Like, they're watching me, man, they're watching me. And now, like, somebody does a FOIA request, and it turns out that, like, yeah, he was getting gang stalked, dude. Like, the FBI was up his ass because he was a fucking commie sympathizer, fucking asshole. So, in that sense, funny, ha-ha. But, yeah, that guy apparently drank his ass off. I actually went to Key West once, and, you know, you might think that, like, well, this was where Hemingway hung out, and there's a bar that he always went to. But I went to Key West, I had, like, one drink. I think actually seeing drunks, like proper drunks, like people that show up like it's a fucking job, like they're showing up to the fucking office and just start fucking boozing, that shit will put you off of a drink, dude. Like, I don't want anything to fucking do with this. This is fucking awful. You know, so I think there's, dude, what was it? Oh, I remember reading, I have like a bunch of old cocktail recipe books, you know, and in the beginning of one of them, there was a saying, and it's like, I can't remember what it is in Latin, but it had like a thing taken from some sign over some really old bar somewhere. And in Latin, it says that wine is a great servant, but a terrible master. And I think that really applies. Like, this can be something to, like, make things a little bit funny, ha-ha. You can enjoy yourself. But if the drink is taking the drink and not you, then you're in some fucking trouble, dude. This is going to sting. Anyway, words to live by. But I think seeing that shit in person, like, it really kind of drives the point home. So, like, you go to Key West, and there's this bar called Sloppy Joe's. That's what it is. And this was apparently, and I mean, to just tell you how much this shit will put you off of having a drink. It's supposed to be Hemingway's favorite place. A bunch of famous people, presidents and shit, they would come through there and, like, yeah, this guy was here, fucking sat over here in this stool. There was some fucking chair, and I can't remember who sat in it. Maybe a president, maybe Hemingway, I don't remember. But it was like the last time they sat in it, and then they stood up and left, and then they, like, affixed the chair to the floor in that spot, and it's remained there the whole time. A little weird, whatever. There's another thing in this bar where there was some woman who lived on Key West with her husband, and she died at some point, And then after this woman died, this guy discovers all of these love letters between her and some dude that she would always go and meet up with at this bar. So after she died, this fucking guy drug her tombstone into the bar and was like, "You want to be here? You fucking stay here." And I don't know how he, equates this actual woman to a tombstone, but whatever, man, whatever. So drags that into the bar. The tombstone is still in the bar. So all that shit is well and good, but the vibe of the place is like, this is tourist dog shit. And if you were coming in here to drink, like, you're really just, this is fucking lame. This is not really a good time. Didn't really strike me as that good. I walked into the place and I was like, all right, yeah, all right, yeah, fuck this. I didn't even have a fucking drink in there. I was like, fuck this. This is not any fucking fun. This is lame. This is you fucking hustling me for tourist dollars. Anyway, yeah, I think seeing that kind of thing, and when I bartended, man, like, it could be really fun, shit could be really cool, but then it could be really fucking sad, where you see that wilted flower at the end of the bar. That's like, she used to be somebody, dude. She used to come in here probably wearing that exact same dress, and dudes would buy her drinks and, pursue her roundly. But now not so much. The bloom has gone off the rose. And she's down there still just waiting, man. It's going to be her time to shine. Just give her a chance. But that chance ain't fucking coming, friend. So, yeah, it is what it is. It's sad to fucking see, dude. It's sad to fucking see. Or, some cats over a period of time. There was a bartender in a place, like a bar that we used to always go in, when I was still active. And that guy had been there fucking forever. But you know how some places it's passe to drink behind the bar. Like, you don't do that while you're working. I never did that while I was working. I was working when I was working. But some cats would booze behind the bar, and this guy would booze behind the bar. And this guy, over the course of, fuck, dude, over the course of 20 years, and then after I retired, I'd still see the guy. This guy, like, he was a pretty sharp guy. He was a regular guy. He ain't no fucking rocket scientist. I mean, he's tending bar in this, dive. But this guy, he forgot my fucking name, man. I knew two guys that forgot my name. And this dude, like, I walked in, and at some point, this guy decided my name was Christian. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my name ain't anything close to fucking Christian. And he walks in, he's like, "Hey, Chris, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, And fucking end of the night, and like, you got my fucking credit card. It's right there, dude. And he's like, Christian, I got your tab for you." I'm like, "All right, thanks, dude." Somehow, dude, it was like just this thing. Like, this guy just decided my name was fucking Christian, some shit, just out of nowhere. So it was like that for a couple of years until I moved away from there. It was like, all right, man, but you could just see it in his face, like that booze face, like just kind of fucking, like sagging, like the fucking mechanism isn't quite working so good no more. It's a fucking downer, man. But another guy I knew, this guy ended up going overseas on his own, hanging out, and got himself killed, dude. Like, pissed off locals somewhere, got himself killed. And this dude, he was a real cool guy. I'd worked with him a little bit. He retired. He did something, man. What the fuck did he do? But he did something where he had a big fucking scar on the side of his face. I was like, God damn, dude. But he's like, "Oh, it was all right, bro." And then this guy boozed a lot. And I think this happens to a lot of dudes in the military, where when you don't have structure, like, you get institutionalized. And you don't have that structure of somebody telling you where to be every day and somebody making sure that you're functional in the morning. If you could sleep till noon, people start seeing it as a win. They're like, nobody's bothering me. Like, yeah, nobody's bothering you, dude. You have to bother yourself. You're on your own now. But this dude, he went hard, dude. He was steaming. And the last time I saw him before he went over to Southeast Asia and legit got himself fucking killed by pissing off the locals, this dude walked up to me, and I had known this dude, man, probably more than 10 years the last time that I saw him. I knew this guy longer than 10 fucking years, and I had worked with him I knew the guy, yeah? Not like a guy that I'd said hi to once. Like, I knew the fucking guy. And I see this dude, and he walks right up to me, and he's already fucked up, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, brother? I'm Jeff." And I'm like, "What the fuck, Jeff?" And he's like, "Yeah, how you doing, man? Where you at?" And I'm like, "God damn it, man." Like, as in, like, what team am I at? I'm like, "Yeah, man, whatever, dude." So, yeah, it's fucked up, man. Like, there's definitely a difference between you taking the drink and the drink taking you. So I guess let's get that out of the way first. So circling back now to that Modern Drunkard magazine situation, they have these little things in there, some of these like stories or historical accounts or whatever. And then some of the things they had were like the lists, like these top lists, like lists of things to achieve as some kind of drunk, and that could be like being there for the opening and closing of a bar, or buying somebody a really expensive cocktail as gratitude for something they did for you, something like this. And then, so this is what I'm coming to, is one of the interesting things that I saw in this was 86 rules for boozing. And I can't remember all of them, but it did have some interesting points, some things about just some things, I guess, that kind of come out when a person is boozing. And one of them is, don't try to blame the booze, which is to say, like, they don't say that, like, you stole somebody's car or, you did something stupid because of the booze. Don't try to blame the booze, dude. It was you. It was you the whole time. At the same time, I think another one of them was, like, don't come down too hard on somebody for something they said or did while they were drunk. And again, by the same token here, is that, hey, this was probably how they felt the whole time anyway. If you're going to get mad at them now just for saying it, what is it that you're really mad about? Like, are you mad because they just said it? Or are you mad because they actually told you how they really felt about whatever, you, some situation, whatever? And I mean, it's not a hard and fast thing. I mean, I try to give people a lot of slack because I know I'll act like a little bit of an idiot if I get a couple in me. But at the end of the day is, like, don't try to make this about something that it's not. And the other one, the one that I guess I wanted to hit more on, don't brag about your drinking. Let your drinking brag about your drinking. Which is to say, like, I have this tolerance, I booze so hard or whatever, this kind of thing. But as it applies to regular life, and this is kind of what I was circling around the longest possible way to, was that I think especially in our thing, not especially in our thing, but probably, I mean, in American culture for sure, there's this tendency to talk about it. Bro, you should do this, and you should do that, and you should be living this way, and these are some things you should be doing in a way you should be extolling. And instead of just the talking, maybe be more about the doing, yeah? Because what this thing is talking about is to say that, like, hey, don't go out here talking about, oh, yeah, man, I'm such tolerance, and bro, I party so crazy, and bro, when I get going, and bro, I know this place. Bro, don't tell me this shit. Show me this shit. You got something cool that you got some kind of way that you are. Don't tell me about it. Show me. Let me see it. Let me observe and let me do the bragging. Holy shit, I saw this guy. You wouldn't believe this fucking guy. And I'm not talking about here. I'm not, I'm shifting away from the idea of boozing. What I'm talking about here is the idea of how are you living your life, man? Because there is a lot of fucking talk, especially now, looking at like this you know what I'm talking about, the gay Mexican situation. Looking at all of this stuff, the political landscape, there's a lot of talk about what's right, about what's wrong, about what's acceptable. And all of the talk, it makes my balls hurt. So especially among like the blue hairs, especially among the libtard crowd, where these people have absolutely no end of claims about like, hey, this is always right and this is never acceptable and that's not, I have zero tolerance for this and the other thing. Yeah, but look at your own life, dude. What are you doing with your own life? In your own life, you work for nobody except yourself. You care about nobody except yourself. You look out for nobody except yourself. The only time you ever do anything for anyone is if you can catch a selfie of it and post it someplace and maybe get some little likey points or whatever the fuck. All right, that's not a way to be. That's not nobody's going to look at that and be like, "Wow, man, can you believe how this person conducts himself? I want to be like them." No, man. Maybe instead to think like, if I couldn't talk at all, what would I do? If I couldn't extol my own virtues and tell people how shit hot I am, how would I behave then? What if nobody was ever going to know? There's actually a good saying for that from our honorary Aryans, the Japanese, and I can't remember it in Japanese, but this saying is to sharpen the sword in a room with no windows. And the idea there being like, man, you don't got to look out the window. You don't got to be thinking about how it's going to be someday when I finally get done, or how great it's all going to go, or is there somewhere else I'd rather be? Like, what are other people doing? Am I looking out there? Am I ahead of the game, behind the game? Do people notice me? Are people looking in the window? Are people checking me out? Bro, are you getting a load of how sharp this sword is? No, man. Keep that shit to yourself. Do your thing. Do things the right way. Do things the proper way. Be improving, constantly improving. Not because you're going to get the likes, not because someone's going to see you, not because it's going to put you ahead, or not because you don't want to fall behind, but just because it's the right thing to do. This is the white man's way of doing things. We do things because they are the right thing to do, not because of the fucking likes or whatever the fuck else. So, I mean, I guess in that sense, we can look to the boozing crowd to go, hey, it's a pretty good fucking point, and it's something we can apply to a variety of situations. And I mean, I guess you could look at me and say, like, yeah, but Coffee, all you do is talk. Well, all you see me do is talk because you don't know who I am, and I'm not going to tell you who I am. And even furthermore, I guess you could say that, like, because I thought about this too, to say, like, don't you think maybe if people knew who you were or could read your resume, and then maybe the things you say might carry a little more weight, but as it stands, you're just some fucking jamoke. You could be anybody. You could be Dungeons and Dragons guy. You don't know shit. You've never done shit. You're just a guy talking. Okay, proceed that way. Assume that I am Dungeons and Dragons guy. Just assume that I am a nobody who's ever done anything. I'm in a fucking wheelchair. I can't even get out of the fucking house. I'm stuck in here. I can't do anything. I'm an incel. I'm all of these things, all right? Just the same, look at the words on their own merit. Do things the right way. Don't do things for the little comeuppance. Don't do things because everybody else is doing it. Don't do things because you got nothing else to do. Do things because so far as you know, it's the right thing to do. Whether I'm an incel or a shut-in or the heaviest hitter to ever hit heavy. If it makes sense, then grab onto it. If it doesn't make sense, then push it on down the line. And in this case, I think we could say that, the drunks have a good point. Don't brag about your drinking. Let your drinking brag about your drinking. So to wrap it up, I suppose, and I don't know, I might short you a little. I might abuse you by virtue of a short episode. Oh, God. I'll review a cocktail that I put together the other day, and I feel like I had something else. I'll review a cocktail that I put together the other day, and also a word about this, I don't know what you call it, liqueur that I don't know, came across, stumbled across, found in the wild or whatever. So it was Cinco de Mayo, and I've never been a big fan of tequila because, dude, I don't know, people say it's spirits, and I mean, the scientist will tell you that, like, yeah, dude, it's all alcohol and, other side products. It's not going to affect you any differently. Dude, I have to beg to differ, man. I cannot agree with that. I very first ever drank tequila when I was like in high school. I mean, dude, champion of all bad ideas. And I got out of my fucking mind, man. Like, I pretty much trashed this guy's apartment, tried to jump out the window, and I woke up the next morning and I was like, what the hell happened here? He's like, you happened here. What the fuck? And I'm like, I don't know what to say, dude. I'm sorry. I don't remember any of this. So again, like, maybe this contrasts a little bit with, like, look, dude, how you are when you booze is how you are. Yeah, I can be a little bit destructive. This is not a secret, but, like, let's don't act like the booze is not at all a factor. I guess I don't know. I've heard it said like it amplifies who you are. So maybe yeah, it's the abuse hour, for God's sake. It's a little bit toxic in here, yes. So if you add tequila, yes, the destruction will be amplified. The abuse will be amplified. I think we can hang our hat on that. Anyway, so yeah, I had always kind of steered away from tequila, and on the few occasions where somebody, you're out with the boys, especially in my former life, fuckers will come around, dude, and especially if somebody dies, fuckers will come around, and some fuckers will see it as like, this is the perfect opportunity to fucking buy shots. And now you've got this fucking shot in your hand. Bro, it's for, fucking Joe Bob there that got fucking blown up. Yeah, let's drink one for Joe Bob. And like, God damn it, what is this even? Oh, it's tequila with a side of my balls dunked in it or something god awful. Terrific. I've never been happier. So now you're drinking this tequila, dude, and I have always, like, dodged this shit. And I will tell you that, like, I've had my fair share of, like, rough evenings where, like, I'll show me a thing or two, and you're a little pissed off at yourself for whatever fucking reason, or even worse, I've had it where, like, yeah, dude, I spent way more than I planned to spend. I bought drinks for people I didn't like. I drank drinks I didn't want. It's fucking late. I got something I got to do tomorrow. I'm the stupidest person alive, and I hope all the bad things happen to me. I'll show me. I'll pile on top of it, and then I'll order something like Yukon Jack, if I really want to punish myself. But even still, tequila, like, this is something even I would never do to myself on purpose. Like, let's order fucking shots of tequila. What a great idea. Never my thing, man. Just the same, I thought it would be clever, like, hey, it's fucking Cinco de Mayo, maybe a margarita. Because I do like putting drinks together, and the concept of the margarita is not a bad one. And I can't remember, it's called, when you put it with something else, it's called a Paloma. Oh, I think it's tequila and grapefruit juice is a Paloma. And I don't like that either, so let's pretend that never happened. But, your margarita, then, generally, this is just tequila, an orange liqueur, and lime. Like, ideally, like, if you're going to make it nice, you muddle up, you smash up the limes, or at least take, like, some lime chunks and throw it in there, and then give it a shake, and the ice it'll beat up on the limes, yeah? And it's not a total substitute for, like, the proper, like, shunk, like, smashing it up in there, but it does work pretty well. So you get a pretty nice taste, and then if you want, like, the bonus plan, just a little tiny bit of orange juice, and that'll give, like, a nice sweetness without fucking with the good citrus flavor of the lime. But I went to a Mexican restaurant, and I got a taco, because it's Cinco de Mayo, what are you going to do, right? So I saw on the menu they had this, like, habanero pineapple margarita. And I'm not generally a big fan of putting spicy shit in drinks, but I was like, it's fucking Cinco de Mayo. It's not my fucking... I don't even know what the fuck Cinco de Mayo is for. It's... Who gives a shit? Whatever. But I was like, you know what, though? I could see, like, maybe something spicy with the pineapple, with the orange, and the lime. It could be kind of cool. I could see this working. So I thought about it for a while, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go, and I'm going to pick up some stuff, and I'm going to build one of these at the house. So I go to the store. I couldn't find no habanero, but I found a jalapeno, which is, for all intents and purposes, right? So we got the jalapeno. I got some lime. I got a pineapple juice. And now I go to the liquor store, and I'm looking. What do I want for tequila? And I'm looking at the tequila situation, and, like, this ain't something I know a lot about. Like, generally, I think with liquors, you can look at the bottle, and if it's something that looks like it's candy or like it's a cereal box for kids, like, this is generally to be avoided. This is probably dog shit. It's probably got a lot of fake flavors and a lot of sugar added, and it'll give you a wicked fucking hangover. So that, I just kind of rule those out straight away. The other stuff that's, like, ridiculously expensive for no reason. Like, expensive is fine. Expensive for no reason is just fucking stupid. So you see this a lot with vodka, dude. Vodka, Vodka is fucking vodka. Vodka, by definition, should be generally flavorless, tasteless. That's the fucking point. Yes? Vodka, like the Russian word for like little water. Voda, water, vodka, little water. All right? So, with this vodka situation, though, and blacks, dude, the blacks fall for this shit. They'll have vodka made out of different stuff. And yes, some of the stuff, whether that's fruits or potato or wheat or whatever, it'll impart a little bit of the character of whatever it is that it's made from. But generally, still flavorless, tasteless. There's no aging involved. There's no real flavoring in the same way with liqueurs, where you might have some very specialized ingredients that are added at different points in the distillation process, and it makes for this very specialized liqueur. There's none of that. It's just fucking vodka. But when vodka gets expensive 99.9% of the time just because of the bottle. So there will be different bottles with like different kinds of shit, like actual gemstones in the fucking the cap or in the bottle, and that's what makes it valuable. And coloreds will buy this. I want to say I feel bad for them, but it's not like, use your head, take a taste. Does this taste any different? I don't taste anything. Yeah, dipshit, because you're not supposed to. You don't taste anything different because it's not any different. You know, there's some stuff, I guess, like some European vodkas that'll have a little more of the flavor because the distillation process isn't so super, super clean. Like in contrast, then something like Sky vodka, as I understand it, was specifically designed to be ultra, ultra clean and to try to minimize the hangover. Does it work or not work? I don't know. I don't especially care because that doesn't, I can only do so much with vodka, which I guess is sort of ironic because vodka is like the thing that you can put in just about fucking anything. Anyways, so looking at just your shelf O liquor, like I don't like to buy things that are just expensive for no fucking reason. I mean, expensive because it's good, yes, I'll pay for that. But expensive for no reason, I'm not buying that. That leaves you kind of a good working middle ground where even if you have no idea, like this is not my cup of tea, I can look at it and you can read what are they fucking saying. Look at the ingredients. Does this have artificial flavors, colors? Is sugar added after the distillation process? You can kind of figure this shit out. Now you can decide, like, well, what do I want out of this rack here? So looking at tequilas, dude, like this, to me, like I'm not your tequila guy. So I'm standing here looking at this fucking thing, like your bottom shelf shit, your Jose Cuervo, your shit with the artificial colors and shit. Not my fucking thing. And now I'm looking, though, and now you start looking, and they've got, like, mezcal and this other stuff called Sotol. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is that? But I'm looking at it, and, like, Sotol, I ain't never heard of that, but it's in a pretty reasonable, like a kind of an artisanal-looking bottle, and it says Texas Sotol. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know. Well, what do we got going here? But it's the only bottle like this that I'm seeing, and it's in the tequila section, and it's not quite got the expensive for no reason look to it, and it's definitely not got the fucking cereal box look. So I'm like, I don't know, let's take a whack at it, man. So I picked this thing up, Texas Sotol, and I try it out. I build this drink with it, and like real quick on the building the drink, the deal was like a couple slices, and dude, I learned this the hard way. Don't use like an entire half of a jalapeno. You'll be unhappy that you did that. I was unhappy. So maybe like 2 or 3 slices, probably 2 slices of jalapeno, and then some chunks of lime. Throw that in there, smash it up. Now you add your Sotol. You add your, for this one, I used triple sec as an orange liqueur. And then I put just a little bit of pineapple juice. Shook it up good because pineapple juice has this habit of kind of foaming a little bit. Like not a lot, like not crazy, but it does have like a little bit of a foamy texture when you shake the shit out of it. So I only added a little bit. And now shake that up, pour it in the glass, fill it up with pineapple juice, and there'll only be a little bit to fill. It should be only a little bit to fill. Oh, and on amounts. For this one, I used 2 ounces of Sotol and half an ounce of orange liqueur, and that seems to be a solid balance. And that's whether you're doing this with Sotol or mezcal or tequila. So I put this thing together, and I had to do it twice because the first time I used half of a jalapeno. Like, what do I know from mixing a drink with a jalapeno? And as it turned out, that was way, 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 way too much. When you if you put one of these kind of things together, like, you gotta properly strain this thing out because you don't want chunks of jalapeno in here. So what I did was get like that normal, like a strainer situation that you put on top of the glass to pour it, and then you get like the mesh, right? The little mesh net strainer deal. Pour it out of that and then through the little mesh strainer deal, and now you're going to get a clean drink. You just throw a lime on there for garnish if you want, and you're good to go. This is going to be a decent drink. So, looking at the Sotol situation, though, this was something I wanted to hit on because this was actually, I found this to be a very tolerable substitute for tequila. So with tequila, and I don't know if you drink tequila, knock yourself out. I don't touch that shit. I think even with a decent margarita, like, you put one together and when you taste it, even if you've got the lime, the orange liqueur, the salt on the rim, if you got any kind of flavor in there, whatever the fuck margarita you're putting together, still, like, there's that first sip that you're like, oh, there's a little booze in there. Oh, there's a little bit of a tangy, boozy flavor. And then, like, crack, like, God, that's fucking tequila. That's awful. I don't like the taste of that shit. It is not my cup of tea. Even spendy tequila, I'm like, I just don't like this shit. So this stuff, though, Sotol, I found to be a very palatable substitute. It's got just a little bit of that tequila flavor, like a much, much lighter tequila flavor, without that really medicine-y, nasty, getting punched in the stomach by a fat Mexican woman type flavor that I feel like comes hand in hand with your average tequila. So I didn't know nothing about it. Like, I didn't know shit about, like, what even is this liquor. All I saw it was in the fucking tequila section. So I was like, I don't know. I'll fucking try it out. But I read up on it, and as you'd expect, there's a lot of bullshit involved. So I looked at it, and apparently there's like these 3, I don't remember what they were, maybe Air Force dudes or something like this, that were doing like a business course in, I think, like the early 2020s, something like this. So they're doing this business course, and their project was like, you got to come up with some kind of a notional business that you want to start or would start or think it would be cool to start or whatever. So these guys come up with this idea of like, yeah, we want to do like a bourbon based in Texas. These guys are in Texas, right? So they want to do a bourbon based in Texas with all local everything, all local barrels, all local grains, all this shit. So the downside about trying to do anything that's like bourbon, obviously, like we talked about before, like bourbon rules, it's very specific about what's in it, what percentages of what grains, how long it's aged, what kind of barrel, all this shit. So you're not just producing the alcohol, there's all this other dick dance involved. And then even once you get all this shit in place, there's still the years that you have to leave this in the barrel while it ages. And then once you finally get it out of the barrel, now you can start looking at like, is anybody going to even buy this? And probably a lot of people in Texas, like with Tito's vodka, they'll buy it just because it's from Texas. But still, as bourbon goes, people want this shit to be just so. And especially bourbon, man, people can be really snobby about this shit. So they'll like different bourbons for different reasons, like different whiskeys for different reasons. What do you call it? Fucking Beam and Jack Daniels. These have a very specific flavor, like a lot of sweetness to this shit, but it's a very specific flavor. And people that like their different whiskeys, they like it for different reasons. So, like, you're really fighting up fucking hill. If somebody drinks whiskey, they already got a whiskey that they drink. So you're trying to peel this shit off. And I mean, me, without even meeting these guys, I just look at this and like, dude, that's going to be a tough sell. But anyway, I'm reading this article, and these guys are talking about, yeah, so we were looking at doing a bourbon, but then they're in Texas, and for whatever fucking reason, they got their hands on this Sotol shit. So this Sotol shit, the like your tequila, this is made out of this blue agave plant. So they take this plant, they whack it all up, they basically cook it, right? They make like stew out of this shit, and then they distill that, and that's tequila, right? So I mean, again, obviously I'm simplifying this shit, but there's like the natural fermentation process with like naturally occurring yeast and this shit, but all this shit is involved. But essentially what you're doing is whacking this shit up, cooking it, and then distilling it, and that's tequila. Your tequila, this comes in a few different flavors, like your basic tequila, your reposado tequila that's like rested, and añejo tequila, so that's like old, like aged. So the difference, you just look at it, you could tell that like, oh, this has been in a barrel a little while, this has been in a barrel a longer while, and I think it's like 3 years for your añejo tequila. The rub here, if you look, like you pick up a bottle of Jose Cuervo and it'll say like añejo, like it's supposed to be aged, right? But now you look at it and it'll say like some artificial color added. So like you added color to this shit to make it look like, oh, look at this shit. Like what the fuck could be faker than this? This is lame, dude. So Jose Cuervo, dude, this is honestly like, this is rot gut anything, man. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because it's fucking cheap. And their branding is basically, yeah, we sponsor silly shit in silly places, spring break, and this kind of shit, and that's why people drink it. So, Jose Cuervo, this is shit. Your Sotol, this is made out of an entirely different plant. I think it was called the Sotol plant. It's from the same family, but it is it's a completely different plant, I guess. And the way that they harvest it or whack it up or whatever, I guess a lot of this shit, it's just in the wild. It's not like proper farmed. At least the article I read said that, at the time of the writing of the article, it's just dudes out in the desert cruising around finding this fucking plant. And then I guess part of the deal is that you can just take the leaves or, like it's like a succulent. So like the off-shooting, pointy sprigs fucking thing. You take that shit, and there's some way to tell if it's ready to go or not, who the fuck knows. But you take that shit, you do the same process, the same whacking up, fermentation, stewing, and then distillation, and this gives you this Sotol, right? So not an entirely complicated process. It is pretty good. It's a good, clean taste. I liked it, dude. I got my hands on the product that these three dudes, I guess, what are they, Air Force dudes maybe? But they're the ones that it was totally by chance that I found their product, Texas Sotol. And, dude, I liked it, man. I would recommend it. I think you got to kind of like maybe that kind of thing. If you have an absolute, well, me, I don't like tequila at all, but I actually like this. So I would recommend that. But now reading about it, so here's where it gets stupid, man, is that the reason that it's called Texas Sotol is because, like, Sotol is really just Mexican moonshine. So there's like these, what do they call them, sotoleros or some shit, that make this shit, just, your little Guatemalan Mexican dude, and he's making this shit, and he's selling it at his house or whatever. But the name, Sotol, calling it this, is like some kind of trademark protected name for this product in Mexico, even though it's not like wildly commercially available and it's not like Mexico is legitimate for anything. Still, they have this shit protected, and there's some asshole that's connected to some liquor company that's going around as some Mexican dude, of course, that has turned this into some kind of cultural fuck you thing. To say that, like, oh, no, actual Sotol, if it's not made in Mexico from plants that we have in Mexico by Mexicans, then it's not actually Sotol. And I'm like, dude, fuck off. For one, it's not like you're farming this shit. You're just finding it. You go out here and you find these fucking plants, and then you whack them up and you do this very simple process. This is not like Scotch, right? Because Scotch, and I mean this, not to go too far down the rabbit hole on this, But the reason that Scotch is what Scotch is because it's the fucking grain is smoked over chunks of condensed vegetation from Scotland. Not to mention the temperature there, the climate there has the same kind of effect on the grain, on the entire process, on the aged liquid as you would have with like wine. So when people say wine from the countryside of France or wine from this part of the world, that part of the world, it has a distinctive flavor because of the climate and the effect that that climate has on the grapes. So this shit, this Sotol shit, right? Like look at how big fucking Texas is. And now try to tell me that there's going to be any real difference between some kind of plants that you find in the wild just over the border in Mexico and here in Texas. I'm not saying here in Texas like I'm in Texas. I'm not in Texas. If you thought you were slick, go fuck yourself. But there's going to be no fucking difference here. So these dudes put this shit together, but now it's this big fuck you thing with Mexico because they're talking about, oh no, if it's not from Mexico, made by Mexicans, then it's not the genuine article. And plus you're like culturally appropriating. This is like trying to trademark the taco. I mean, dude, you can't put that ground meat or that chicken in between that fucking tortilla and eat it and call it a taco. Motherfucker, it's a taco. It's a pretty basic recipe. It ain't General Tso's fucking chicken. It ain't fucking Panda Express orange chicken. It's a pretty basic fucking concept, man. It's just fucking booze. And it's a pretty simple booze. So one way or another, man, in this article I looked at, I think it was a couple of years old, so maybe they've lightened a little bit on some of that blue-haired, whining, sniveling bullshit, but I will shill a little bit, and I don't know these dudes, I don't know their politics, I don't know shit about it. I saw the bottle on the shelf, I grabbed it up, and it made for a decent drink. So if you're in the market for that kind of thing, this Texas Sotol, it's like a blue bottle. It's not a bad drink. It's a pretty good deal if you get a chance. So with that, I will leave you to it. I am actually going to head out and find some fucking barbecue, man. Like I just went out and I had to knock out some errands. And there was someplace, I don't know where, someplace had barbecue going and I could smell it. And I was like, dude, this is happening. This is going to happen for me for lunch. It's on like Voltron. So that's my plan for the day. But you, man, if you dig this action, you can borrow this, steal it, upload it, download it, do whatever the hell you want with it. Leave it somewhere people could find it. If you just want to find it yourself, you can find it on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, anywhere crummy content is purveyed. And until we meet again, keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee. These are my takes.